I still remember the night the cop showed up at my door like it was yesterday, the blue and red lights flashing through the curtains, turning our quiet Akron suburb into a crime scene straight out of a bad thriller. It was around 10 p.m., the house dark except for the glow of the TV. I wasn't really watching. A sharp knock rattled the front door. I opened it to find two uniformed officers standing on the porch, faces serious under their caps. "Mr. Tom Reynolds?" one asked, his voice flat and official. "We have a warrant for your arrest on charges of emotional abuse and harassment. Your daughter filed a complaint, backed by video evidence. We need you to come with us." My knees buckled, a wave of shock and disbelief crashing over me like ice-cold water. Abuse? Harassment? Me, the father who'd sacrificed everything for her. My mind raced back to every innocent hug, every comforting kiss on the forehead, now twisted into something evil. They read me my rights while cuffing my hands behind my back. The cold metal biting into my wrist felt like a betrayal in itself. Neighbors' porch lights flicked on one by one. I could feel their eyes on me, phones probably already recording, judgment burning in the air. "This is a mistake," I kept repeating, my voice cracking with desperation and confusion. "Please, just look at the full videos." They didn't respond, their expressions stoic, professional, detached from the human wreckage they were creating. They guided me to the cruiser, one hand on my shoulder, the door slamming shut like a coffin lid. The ride to the station was silent except for the crackle of the radio and my own heartbeat pounding in my ears, a mix of terror and rage building inside. At booking, they took my fingerprints, my mugshot, front, side, the flash blinding me as humiliation washed over like a tidal wave. I sat in a holding cell overnight, staring at the concrete wall, emotions swirling. Fear for my future, heartbreak over Emily's lies, anger at how she'd weaponized our love. How had it come to this? They released me the next morning on bail, which I scraped together from a high-interest loan against the house and a reluctant handout from a cousin who still believed in me. The local news had already picked it up, a small blurb online. "Local man arrested after daughter alleges years of emotional abuse." Comments poured in like venom. "Disgusting. Lock him up." My phone exploded with texts from people I thought were friends. "Tom, is this true?" I couldn't even answer, my throat tight with shame and isolation. Work suspended me, pending investigation, my boss's voice heavy with regret over the phone. "We have to, Tom. Company policy." The shame was suffocating. Every trip to the grocery store felt like walking through a gauntlet of stairs, whispers behind hands, people averting their eyes, as if I were contaminated. Emotions hid in waves. Mornings of numb despair, afternoons of burning anger, nights of tearful grief for the daughter I'd lost long before the cuffs. I hired a cheap lawyer with what little savings remained, a no-nonsense guy named Mike who listened to my story with furrowed brows and promised to dig deep. The case moved toward court, each pre-trial meeting a knot in my stomach. Depositions where prosecutors grilled me, their questions sharp as knives, probing every remembered moment Emily had twisted. I felt exposed, vulnerable, like my life was on trial before the real trial even started. To understand how we got to that arrest, you have to go back to the foundation, the love that built it all, and the cracks that formed over time. Lisa, my wife, was the glue holding us together. She was vibrant, with a teacher's patience and a laugh that could chase away any storm. But ovarian cancer doesn't negotiate. It struck fast and furious, turning our happy home into a battlefield of hospital visits and whispered prayers. On that fateful day in April 2011, in a sterile room at Akron General, Emily, our bubbly 10-year-old with pigtails and a gap-toothed grin, held Lisa's hand as the monitors beeped their final warning. "Mommy, wake up," Emily begged, her voice tiny and trembling, her little face crumpled in confusion and sorrow. Lisa managed one last whisper. "Tom, protect her. Emily, Daddy's your hero now." Then silence. I pulled Emily close as sobs racked her small frame, her tears soaking my shirt, my own heart shattering into pieces. Promising Lisa's ghost I'd be enough for both of us, I felt a fierce determination mixed with overwhelming grief. That vow became my lifeline. Life became a grind of survival, but I embraced it with every ounce of strength. Days at Johnson's Auto Repair meant crawling under cars, diagnosing rattles and leaks until my fingers bled and my back ached like fire. The physical pain a distraction from the emotional void. Nights, I deliver pizzas, the truck's heater blasting against Ohio winters. Radio playing oldies to keep loneliness at bay. Songs that reminded me of Lisa, bringing bittersweet tears. Our split-level house on Maple Street wasn't much. Faded blue siding, a kitchen with outdated cabinets where Lisa used to bake cookies. But it was home, filled with her memory. We lived frugally. Thrift store clothes, generic groceries from Aldi. No cable, just antenna TV and board games. Every penny stretched thin. Weekends were simple joys. Building forts in the living room with blankets and flashlights. Emily's giggles lighting up the dim space. Or hiking Cuyahoga Valley National Park, where she'd skip ahead collecting leaves, her laughter echoing through the trees like a balm for my soul. I'd squirrel away every extra penny into a college fund, a beat-up coffee can on the fridge that grew to $15,000 by our late teens, plus another $10,000 in savings. This is for your dreams, Em, I'd say, shaking it proudly, feeling a swell of hope and pride. And in those early years, she'd hug me tight, her head on my shoulder, whispering, "Thanks, Daddy. You're the best." Her warmth filling the emptiness Lisa left. Affection was our language, normal father-daughter stuff that kept us connected after Lisa, born from a place of pure love and protection. I'd kiss her forehead goodnight, feeling her relax under my touch, hug her after school plays where she'd beam in her costume, her eyes sparkling with joy, or ruffle her hair during movie nights on the couch, her laughter bubbling up. One time, after a tough day at school when bullies teased her about her old car, I scooped her up in a bear hug, spinning her around the kitchen until she giggled uncontrollably, her arms wrapped around my neck. "You're my superstar, kiddo," I'd say, planting a quick peck on her cheek, her face lighting up with happiness. Another evening, during a thunderstorm that scared her, just like when she was little, I'd sit on her bed, holding her close as rain pelted the windows, reassuring her with a gentle kiss on the top of her head. "Daddy's here. Nothing can hurt you," I'd murmur, feeling her body ease from tension to trust. These moments were pure, innocent, the kind every parent cherishes, filled with emotions of comfort, security, and unbreakable bond. Little did I know Emily was capturing them on her phone. Hidden recordings during hugs, sneaky videos of those kisses, stockpiling them like weapons for a war I didn't see coming, her actions driven by growing resentment I couldn't yet see. The shift started subtly around age 13, when social media opened her eyes to a world of excess, stirring envy that ate away at her contentment. Instagram feeds bombarded her with filtered perfection, classmates jetting to Disney, dads gifting diamond necklaces for birthdays, families dining at steakhouses we couldn't afford. "Dad, why can't we have nice things?" she'd ask, holding up her phone like evidence, her tone laced with disappointment. I'd respond gently, explaining our budget with patience. "Honey, those folks might have loans or 2 jobs too, but we've got love and stability. That's worth more." Feeling a pang of guilt for not providing more. We'd compromise, bake homemade treats instead of buying fancy cakes, or turn our backyard into a resort with a kiddie pool and lemonade, her reluctant smile giving me hope. She seemed okay on the surface, but resentment simmered beneath, a quiet storm building. By 15, the demands intensified, turning small asks into battles that tested my limits, emotions fraying at the edges. One Saturday, after a grueling shift where an engine rebuild went sideways and the boss rode me hard, leaving me exhausted and irritable, Emily burst in, "Dad, I need $600 for Colorado camp. Adventure stuff. All my friends are going." I took a deep breath, kept my voice soft despite the fatigue. That's a lot. It's our mortgage payment plus groceries. How about local camping? We'll make it epic with stories and stars." Trying to infuse enthusiasm to soften the blow. She pushed back, repeating the plea, her tone insistent, plastering the same words over and over. "But I deserve it. You're always cheap." I stayed calm at first, reiterating the finances, suggesting alternatives, but the repetition wore me down, frustration building like pressure in a faulty radiator, my patience thinning from the day's stress. Finally, it snapped. "Emily, no. We can't. And that's final. Stop badgering me. My voice thundered, louder than intended, echoing in the kitchen, regret immediately flooding me as I saw her step back, eyes wide with surprise. Instant sorrow surged through me like ice water. Oh, sweetie, I'm so sorry. Work was a nightmare today. I shouldn't have raised my voice. Come here, let's hug it out. I pulled her close, apologized profusely with a heavy heart, and we spent the evening making popcorn and watching her favorite movie, emotions settling into tentative peace. Resolved, I thought, but the guilt lingered in me. A few months later, history repeated with a $1,300 laptop demand. I trudged in from a rain-soaked delivery run, tire flat, soaked to the bone, every muscle screaming from pain and exhaustion. She ambushed me at the door. Dad, this laptop is perfect for school. Please? Gentle at first. Let's find a solid used one for $300. We can upgrade later, I said, trying to keep composure despite the fatigue. She plastered on, voice rising, same arguments looped. But I need the best. You're holding me back. I explained again, offered compromises, but the endless loop triggered my exhaustion, frustration mounting. No, Emily, enough with the whining. I shouted, the words exploding out, her flinch hitting me like a punch. Guilt crushed me immediately. God, honey, forgive me. I'm beat. That wasn't right. Huh. We embraced. I made amends with her favorite dinner, feeling remorseful as we shopped online together for a budget option. Peace restored, or so it seemed, the emotional toll weighing on me. Unbeknownst to me, she'd recorded those outbursts too, audio of the no-s and shouts, cropping out my soft apologies, the reconciliations. But she went darker with the videos. The editing was flawless, seamless in a way that made my stomach turn. She altered those innocent hugs and kisses so perfectly that they looked sinister, adding subtle distortions to her facial expressions in the clips, making her eyes appear wide with terror. Her body language seemed rigid and fearful during moments that were actually full of warmth and laughter. The manipulations were so precise, the transitions so smooth, that even I felt a chill watching them later. They looked utterly convincing, like genuine fear captured in real time, evoking horror and disbelief in anyone who saw them. At 19, she dropped the bomb. In the kitchen one night, under the harsh fluorescent light, she confronted me. Dad, I've remembered everything now. Those hugs, kisses after Mom died, they felt wrong. Invasive, abusive. My blood ran cold, a mix of shock, hurt, and confusion flooding me. How can my love be seen as harm? Emily, what? Those were just Dad's stuff, comforting you. I stammered, my voice trembling with emotion. She smirked, a cold expression that stabbed at my heart, playing the edited videos on her phone. My arms around her with her expression twisted into one of pure dread, the kisses looking lingering and threatening in slow motion. See? And the yelling audio too. Sign over $25,000. The fund and savings, or this goes viral. Family, cops, social media. You're the monster now. That moment, when she said she'd remembered everything, was the spark that lit my fire, a surge of determination cutting through the fear. I didn't explode or argue, though betrayal burned like acid in my chest. Inside, something clicked. This was war, and I needed proof to fight back. While fear choked me, and I signed the papers to hand over the money, my hands shaking with a mix of terror and resolve, my mind shifted to survival mode. I started quietly compiling evidence right then, documenting every interaction in a hidden journal, saving bank statements showing her spending spree on my forged loans, noting dates of her demands, and my responses with timestamps. I reached out discreetly to a private investigator I'd met through a mechanic buddy, Frank, paying him in small installments for side gigs, all while pretending to be defeated, broken, to keep her off guard, my emotions a whirlwind of hurt and strategic calm. Layers piled on like a nightmare snowballing, each one amplifying the pain. Financially, forged loans added $20,000 debt. Her spa trips, designer hauls, each transaction a fresh sting of betrayal. Socially, she leaked the edited videos/audio to family, her voice tearful in calls I overheard snippets of. Karen texted, Tom, those clips, horrifying. Stay away. her words like a knife twist, leaving me isolated and heartbroken. Holidays became solo affairs, me sitting alone with a cold meal, tears falling as memories of family dinners haunted me. At work, anonymous shares to Jim led to suspension pending investigation. My boss's sympathetic but firm tone adding to the humiliation. Online, her TikToks exploded. Millions of views on my dad's dark side. Edited moments looped with dramatic music, captions like escaping the hugs that haunted me. Comments raged. Monster. Call the cops. People talked everywhere. Local forums dissected the clips. Strangers debated if I was a predator, fueling my despair and isolation. Then came the lawsuit. Emily sued for emotional distress and abuse, demanding more money, using the edits as evidence, her cold calculation deepening my grief. The arrest followed soon after. Her complaint, backed by those doctor videos, was enough for a warrant. That's how I ended up in cuffs. The night that broke me open, emotions of utter devastation and flickering hope for justice. Yet, in that abyss, resolve ignited, a quiet fire of determination born from years of sacrifice. I wouldn't go down without truth. I played broken, avoiding her while plotting meticulously, my days filled with anxious planning, nights with restless strategy. The breakthrough came from something she overlooked in her arrogance. On her 18th birthday, just a year earlier, she'd begged for the latest iPhone, the shiny new model everyone had. I couldn't swing the full price. My savings were tied up in bills and her future fund. But I wanted to make her happy, so I bought her a solid refurbished one from a trusted shop, the previous year's model, but still top-notch. She pouted at first. It's not the newest, Dad, but took it anyway, transferring her data over and handing me the old phone to recycle or whatever. I kept it, tucking it away in a drawer in the garage with other old tech, figuring it might come in handy someday. A simple act of thrift that would save me. When the accusations hit and the edited videos surfaced, I remembered that old phone, heart pounding with a mix of hope and nervousness. I dug it out one sleepless night. The battery was dead, but after charging it up, thankfully she hadn't wiped it completely. I found a backup folder she'd never bothered to delete, automatic cloud sync remnants that had transferred partially before she switched. Buried in there were the original, unedited videos from those family moments. Raw footage of the bear hugs where she was laughing, beaming, hugging back. The forehead kisses during thunderstorms where her face was relaxed, eyes closed in trust, no trace of fear. No distortions, no added terror expressions, just pure, joyful connection. She had been careless, assuming the old device was junk, forgetting those files lingered in a forgotten backup partition she hadn't fully erased. Discovering them felt like a lifeline, emotions surging, relief, vindication, a spark of triumph amid the pain. With those originals in hand, I took them to Frank. He ran forensic analysis. Side-by-side comparisons revealed the manipulations, pixel inconsistencies and the fear overlays, lighting mismatches, unnatural facial muscle distortions that no real emotion could produce. The original showed timestamps and metadata, proving they were from happy days, not trauma. Audio forensics confirmed the cropped apologies, the spliced harshness. Armed with this, I felt empowered, the fog of despair lifting slightly. Exposure was surgical, a dramatic buildup like a thriller's third act, each step heightening the tension. Finances first. Fraud reports with proof froze her accounts. Cards declined at a high-end restaurant. Her date watching in awkward silence as she turned beet red, embarrassment written on her face. Rent defaulted. Eviction crew showed up, hauling designer bags to the sidewalk while passers-by stared, her world crumbling publicly. Jobs ghosted her. Background checks flagged the fraud, leaving her increasingly desperate. Family. Unedited originals mailed anonymously at first. Karen's call to Emily was explosive. Those fear faces. You fake them. The real videos show you smiling, hugging him back. Relatives turned, her support network evaporating, isolation mirroring what she'd done to me. Online, anonymous threads with original versus edited breakdowns went viral. Proof undeniable. Her TikToks got mass reported, account banned for deception. Backlash was ferocious. She doctored family hugs into abuse. Liar exposed. She posted desperate lives, voice cracking, tears streaming. It's not what it looks like. Please. But the tide had turned, her emotions shifting from smug to panicked. After the arrest, the legal process dragged on for months, each step a fresh wound of anxiety and hope. My lawyer filed motions to suppress the edited evidence, arguing tampering with detailed briefs. Discovery revealed her forged financial docs, adding layers to our case. Pre-trial hearings were tense. Prosecutors pushed hard based on her complaint and the doctor clips, their expressions confident as they presented the evidence on a courtroom screen. Emily's manipulated fear face staring back. I sat there, heart racing, fists clenched under the table, feeling exposed and furious. Emily testified in one hearing, her voice steady at first, but wavering under cross-examination. "You made me uncomfortable with those hugs," she said, avoiding my eyes, her face flushed with what looked like forced conviction. My lawyer countered, "Miss Reynolds, isn't it true you edited these videos?" She shifted in her seat, glancing away, mumbling denials. The judge, a stern woman with sharp eyes, leaned forward. "We'll see what the experts say." The judge ordered an independent expert review of the videos, a pivotal moment where tension hung thick in the air. When the full report came back, confirming manipulation, detailed pixel-by-pixel breakdowns projected on screen, the courtroom shifted. Prosecutors' faces fell, one whispering urgently to the other. The judge's expression turned from neutral to disapproving as she reviewed. "This evidence appears fabricated. The originals clearly show consensual, loving interactions. No abuse here." In the final hearing, my lawyer presented everything. Originals playing side by side, forensics highlighted. I spoke from the stand, voice steady but emotional. "Your Honor, those hugs were me comforting my daughter after her mom died. She twisted them to hurt me, to get money. I've lost everything, my reputation, my peace, but the truth is here." Emily, on the stand next, crumbled under questioning. "I edited them because I was angry," she admitted, tears streaming, her face pale and defeated, body slumping in the chair as murmurs rippled through the courtroom. The judge banged her gavel, her voice firm. "Based on the forensic evidence and admissions, charges against Mr. Reynolds are dismissed with prejudice. Miss Reynolds, your actions constitute fraud and defamation. I order restitution of $15,000 to cover legal fees and damages, plus probation and mandatory therapy." Emily's face in that moment, eyes wide with shock, mouth agape, cheeks drained of color, reflected utter defeat, her body rigid as she realized the empire of lies had collapsed around her. She stood slowly, movements shaky, escorted out by her lawyer, glancing back at me with a mix of regret and resentment. The courtroom cleared, relief washing over me like a warm wave, vindication sweet but bittersweet, emotions of triumph mixed with sorrow for what we'd lost. The lawsuit and the arrest collapsed fully that day. Charges dropped, my name cleared. What happened next was a slow unraveling for her, a rebuilding for me. The viral exposure amplified the judgment. Her life spiraled as people shared the court's outcome online. The real climax came weeks later, after the dust settled from court. She showed up at my door unannounced, rain pouring, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her, hair soaked, eyes red and swollen from crying. "Dad, the videos are everywhere now. The real ones. People hate me. Everything's gone." Her voice broke, shoulders hunched in defeat. I let her in, feeling a complex swirl of pity, anger, and lingering love. I laid the evidence on the table. Originals playing side by side with her edits. You took moments of love and twisted them into nightmares. The hugs, the kisses, they were me protecting you. Your perfect edits fooled everyone, including me for a while. But truth doesn't stay buried. She broke completely, collapsing onto the couch, sobs racking her body like storms. I was so angry, jealous of everyone else's life. I wanted to hurt you like I felt hurt. I didn't think it'd go this far. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Regret poured out in waves, shame twisting her features, self-loathing in her trembling hands, the dawning horror of what her greed had cost evident in her tear-streaked face. Today, Emily's in a tiny, drafty studio apartment above a laundromat on the edge of town, the kind of place where the dryer rumble never stops, a far cry from her loft dreams. She works double shifts at a 24-hour diner, serving coffee at dawn with weary eyes, wiping tables till midnight with aching feet, tips barely covering rent, probation fees, and court-ordered therapy. She's cut off from most friends. The viral exposure and court defeat left her a social pariah, her once vibrant social media silent. Family keeps her at arm's length. Occasional strain calls filled with awkward silences. No invites to gatherings, their disappointment palpable. Therapy is mandatory and grueling. She's slowly confronting the entitlement, the resentment, the destruction she caused. Sessions leaving her drained, but perhaps growing. Texts from her are short, tentative. Thinking about you, Dad. Trying to be better. Carrying hints of genuine remorse. For me, the storm has passed, leaving clearer air and a sense of hard-won peace. The house is mine again. I fixed the leaky roof myself, feeling empowered. Repainted the kitchen where so much happened, each brushstroke erasing pain. Planted Lisa's favorite roses in the yard, their blooms a symbol of renewal. Back at the shop as lead mechanic, respected, even promoted. Co-workers' apologies and handshakes restoring my dignity. I coach Little League on weekends. The kids' energy, their innocent cheers and high-fives, heal old wounds I didn't know were still bleeding, filling me with joy and purpose. Sarah, the nurse I've been seeing, brings warmth back. We cook together, dance in the living room to old songs, building something real and tender. Her support a balm for my scarred heart. The betrayal was devastating. A hurricane of emotions from shock to rage to profound sadness. The fight exhausting, draining every reserve of strength, but emerging on the other side feels like breathing fresh air after being underwater too long. A triumphant exhale of relief and growth. Love got twisted, but truth straightened it out. Sometimes the deepest cuts heal strongest, leaving you wiser, more resilient. If this story hit you hard, whether it made you angry, heartbroken, or hopeful, drop a like, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more real stories of survival and comeback. And while you're here, comment below. Where are you watching from? I'd love to know who's out there with me on this journey. Thanks for sticking through to the end. Stay strong, stay true,